Hey guys, Craig from Bass Lessons Melbourne here. Hope you're well. Today in this video I want to talk about note length and articulation and how that can really impact the overall feel of your groove. There's a lot more to playing a bass line than just playing the right notes at the right time. You know, if that was the case, then we would have been replaced by computers a long time ago. The amount of detail that goes into making what maybe seem like a relatively simple bass line actually feel good and sit right in the pocket is quite a lot. For example, if we had 10 different bass players and we got them all to play the same bass line, we would end up with 10 slightly different variations on whatever that line was, as each player imparts their own tone, articulation, and just overall feel on it. You're going to get something that sounds slightly different. So it's really important as a bass player to be aware that it's not just when you pluck your note that counts, but when you stop it. And that's what we're going to look at today. So there's PDFs for all these examples to download for free over on my website, basslessonsmelbourne.com. You can get all the examples over there. And the shortness is usually indicated by a dot above the note. For those of you who aren't aware of what that means, that's the staccato marking, and that means we play that note really short. So let's start off. We're going to look at just a basic eighth note pattern to begin with, and the various ways we can play that. Okay, so that was just even eighth notes, or as even as I could play it anyway. So let's change it up and let's make the first note of each beat short and see how that feels. So you can see by changing the first note to being short, it gives the line a slightly different feel. So let's do the opposite and let's make the second note of each beat short and see how that feels. And finally, we could make each note short. So we're going to play all the notes staccato, and that will sound like this. So each version adds a subtle different flavour to the line without actually changing the timing of the notes. So what I mean by that is the notes all occur at the exact same time in the meter, so in the bar they all start at the same time, and all we did was vary the length of the notes to give it a different feel. Now there's not necessarily a right or wrong way of playing these notes, it's all dependent on musical context, and you'll know what's the right one to use the more you listen to music and the more that you check out bass players who are really good at playing in the pocket, for example. So next, we can look at a classic rhythm that's used in countless styles of music: pop, rock, funk, country. So this groove is a really common groove, and it lends itself well to demonstrating this idea of changing the note length to see how it fits in. Alright, so you can hear how the bass directly locks in with the kick drum pattern, giving a real solid, tight foundation. And what we can do is we can end the note as soon as the snare hits. So we're going to stop our note as soon as there will be a snare hit, and we're going to have a rest there. And we're going to see how that changes the feel of the groove. So that version there gives the groove a bit more space and attitude, I think, by letting the snare really punch through. It's a relatively simple amendment to the groove, but it can be really effective in giving that groove a bit more weight by actually playing less. So we can add to that by shortening the first and last note even more and use a pan muting technique to create more of a breakdown feel. So we're going to have a lot more short notes in this, same rhythm, and you can see how that feels. Okay, so what we're going to look at now is taking that idea of having the same groove for example, a verse and a chorus, and changing the articulation to see how you could maybe take a line that you already know and change it up just by changing them. So what we're going to look at now is that idea of having the same line for like a verse and a chorus, and how changing the articulation can make each section feel different. So first off, we're going to play the verse part, which is all going to be short notes, and then for the chorus part, we're going to lengthen some of the notes to make it feel a little bit wider and a little bit fatter. So finally, this is a kind of funk rock style groove that I'm going to play two different ways. First way is going to be all long notes, and then the second way is going to be with some of the notes shortened, just to change up the feel a little bit. So these are just a few examples of what's possible by paying a little bit more attention to the length of your notes and listening to the impact that has to the overall feel. Hope you enjoyed this, guys. If you did, like, share, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff. Be sure to head on over to basslessonsmelbourne.com, grab a copy of the PDFs, the examples for this lesson, and also there's a few other things over there you might want to check out. For example, some lessons on reading music for bass, some killer warm-up exercises, and some other things. So again, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.